Win 4 winning numbers next during Eyewitness News.
This is Eyewitness News, the news leader, with Steve Bartlestein, Lori Stokes, and Bill Evans with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Now, Eyewitness News at noon.
Iraqi militants want American troops out of Najaf, or else an American hostage dies. That threat looms large. And licenses revoked. Hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers have their right to drive taken away for supplying bogus Social Security numbers. Good afternoon. I'm Lauren Glassberg, and for Lori Stokes.
And I'm Steve Bartlestein. Welcome to Eyewitness News at noon. More kidnappings, more demands, and worse still, innocent lives hanging in the balance. In Iraq, militants have grabbed another journalist with ties to New York, but none to the military, which makes meeting those demands extremely difficult. Just as tough the job his family has in waiting them out. Lisa Colagrassi in the West Village now, where Micah Guerin's family resides. Lisa.
Well, still no word on the fate of Micah Guerin and his Iraqi translator. Guerin lives here at this Christopher Street apartment building with his fiancée, who so far today has been keeping a low profile. Micah Guerin's fiancée and friends maintain a lonely vigil in this West Village apartment building.
And there is no reason that this tragedy should have happened, and I feel so horrible for the family. It's just unbelievable that it's come to this level.
According to Al Jazeera Television, a militant group calling itself the Martyrs Brigade released a video showing a man believed to be Micah Guerin. In the video, the kidnappers threatened to kill Guerin if U.S. forces do not leave Najaf within 48 hours. Perhaps sensing something like this would happen, Guerin's fiancée had already made a written plea. I am appealing to Micah Guerin's kidnappers to release him. He was simply doing his job as a journalist. For the past 2 weeks, American forces in Najaf have battled militants loyal to radical cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. He reportedly has accepted a peace plan calling for his men to disarm, but there's no sign yet of an end to the fighting. Guerin and his Iraqi translator were abducted last Friday by 2 armed men. Guerin works for Four Corners Media, based here in New York. His work has appeared in archaeology magazines, on PBS, and in the New York Times. He's spent 8 months in Iraq over the past year working on a documentary about the looting of historic sites. And Micah Guerin apparently has been to the Middle East many, many times over the years. He has said to love that part of the world, which makes his kidnapping even more disturbing. We are live in the West Village. Lisa Colagrassi, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Lisa, thank you. A frightening start to the day for several people in Times Square when the facade of a building fell onto the street below. Stacey Sager is live in Times Square with that story. Stacey.
Well, Lauren, it happened here at number 1 Times Square. We all know this building because it's where the ball drops each year on New Year's. Well, this morning, just at the tail end of rush hour, from way up here, something else dropped. And if you ask the people who got hit with it, they say it came down like a sledgehammer.
You do hear it a lot, but somebody really could have got killed. Could have been me.
Gerald Hayes, one of 2 unlucky pedestrians who just happened to be walking by number 1 Times Square this morning when workmen were replacing the granite squares on this building, just like the one this man is picking up. Except the work was going on way up here on the 20th story of the building. Police and witnesses telling us that all of a sudden, one chunk of granite came crashing down, thankfully smashing into this scaffolding, but then the debris smashed into Mr. Hayes.
We saw stuff coming down, so I did this to block my head, and then the concrete or whatever hit me on my elbow here.
Heard the loud drilling. I look up and I see the debris falling. So
it was a result of the drilling?
It was a result of the drilling.
Police tell us the contractor is CP Construction Corporation here in Manhattan. They declined our request for an interview today, but motorists weren't too happy with them this morning. Take a look at the traffic tie-up when parts of 7th Avenue and West 42nd Street had to be closed.
Heavy traffic, heavy.
Fortunately, about 1 hour later, the mess was cleaned up. So was the injury on Gerald Hayes, who's now trying to put it all in perspective.
Only in New York. It could have been worse, though, because it could have been my head. You know, that's the thing of it, so.
You seem to be handling it rather well.
Well, now, I guess by the time I get home, I realize what happened, and I scream.
And there was another person struck by falling debris, a female tourist. She was struck in her back, treated here at the scene and released. And as you can see, just a small section back here of 7th Avenue remains closed. We're live in Times Square. I'm Stacey Sager, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Lucky folks there. Thank you, Stacey. Hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers will soon be hoofing it because they're having their driver's license revoked for allegedly providing bogus Social Security numbers. Art McFarland, live in Lower Manhattan with this story. Art.
And Steve, we've had demonstrations outside City Hall here today proving this is a controversial issue. At the heart of it, the fact that you have to have a Social Security number to get a driver's license in New York State in most cases. But the DMV is set to confiscate maybe 250,000 licenses of people who allegedly provided phony documents. That state effort has drawn a strong response on both sides of the issue. Immigrants who are ineligible for Social Security cards say the DMV crackdown goes too far.
Why do you want license? When do you want it? Now! You have examples.
And this morning, a New York State Assembly hearing began on the issue of fraud in obtaining driver's licenses. Phony documents were presented, and photos said to be of those who obtained them were presented to the Assembly's Transportation Committee. Supporters see the crackdown as a weapon against terrorism. Sally Regenhard is a leader among families of 9/11 victims.
19 hijackers had a total of 60 driver's licenses among them. We have to obey laws in this country. We were so lax before 9/11.
But immigrants and their supporters say the crackdown threatens their livelihood and amounts to discrimination.
And we feel that it is counterproductive to require Social Security number for people who do need their cars and trucks to provide for their families and to provide for themselves.
We should give them the opportunity to surrender those licenses, at least a 90-day amnesty program, to clean the system out once and for all, because hunting them down is a lot harder than asking them to voluntarily surrender them.
Well, supporters for some of the immigrants are calling for a system that would provide driver's licenses for people who don't have Social Security cards. There will be more demonstrations and more hearings on what has now become a national security issue. In Lower Manhattan, Art McFarland, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Art. Well, despite the fact that Hurricane Charlie flexed its muscles more than a week ago, folks living down in South Florida still feeling his wrath now more than ever. The death toll from Charlie has risen to 22 after one person died yesterday from carbon monoxide poisoning, again, the result of using a gas-powered generator. Many more have been hospitalized for similar conditions, as well as for injuries sustained while cleaning up the debris from the hurricane. The intense heat and humidity also contributing to the growing number of health problems post-Charlie.
Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry is accusing President Bush of letting other people do his dirty work. Kerry addressed the Association of International Firefighters in Boston this morning. He talked about an independently funded ad that disputes Kerry's injury claims in Vietnam. Kerry defends his war record and says he's ready to discuss it with the president.
The president keeps telling people he would never question my service to our country. Instead, he watches as a Republican-funded attack group does just that. Well, if he wants to have a debate about our service in Vietnam, here is my answer: bring it on.
Meanwhile, President Bush attended a rally in Minnesota yesterday, wrapping up a bus tour through the upper Midwest. The president blasted Kerry for saying he would bring the troops in Iraq back home within 6 months if he's elected. Mr. Bush is now at his ranch in Texas, where he'll spend the next week preparing for the Republican convention.
Well, they went seeking thrills at Six Flags, and they got them, and a whole lot more. A storm knocked out power to the Batman and Robin roller coaster yesterday. It left riders stranded about 75 feet in the air. Some were stuck upside down, others sideways. They stayed that way for about 40 minutes until workers were able to ease the cars down so passengers could walk off. No one was hurt.
Whoa.
Scary, though, I bet.
And a little nauseating, too. Yeah. Wow. A ball of fire rips through the night sky. Coming up on Eyewitness News at noon, a natural gas explosion so fierce authorities are letting it burn itself out.
Wow. Talk about brotherly love. These guys have just stolen our hearts, right? Carl and Clarence, they continue on their road to recovery, and it's all pretty good.
And later, the beer-guzzling bear nabbed for downing one too many.
But first, if you have information on a story outside of New York City, please call one of our Eyewitness News bureaus. We don't make a last call here. The number's right there on your screen. We're coming right back.
Former President Bill Clinton Oprah, one-on-one. Nothing is off limits.
Did you honestly believe that you were never going to be caught?
What you always wanted to know.
Did you think she was going to leave you?
Candid, revealing.
Have you spoken to Monica Lewinsky?
Go inside the Clinton home. Oprah, Bill Clinton.
Most people don't know this.
Next, Oprah.
Today at 4, right here on ABC 7.
We were 1,000 miles off course. They're looking for us in the wrong place.
Guys, where are we?
Lost premieres Wednesday, September 22nd, only on ABC.
Joey, it's Tony Danza. How are you?
I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people.
Like, for instance, what makes a good host?
Gotta have a lot of charisma, gotta be funny, and not annoying.
The more fun I have up there, the more fun they have.
Channel 7's new daytime talk show coming this fall.
In Texas, a gas explosion lights up the sky with a ball of fire. Flames fueled by natural gas burn from the Duke Energy site in Moss Bluff, Texas. It happened around 4 this morning and could be seen for miles. Residents within a 1-mile radius had to evacuate their homes. Fortunately, no injuries, and crews decided to let the fire burn itself out. The cause of the explosion is under investigation.
They're like family, Carl and Clarence. It's been 2 weeks since those 2-year-old conjoined twins from the Philippines underwent a massive surgery, the last to separation. Now, we're getting a new look at the boys as doctors keep a very close eye on their recovery.
More new video from the boys we've come to love, Carl and Clarence Aguirre. Doctors say the recovery is on track, and they're being kept in separate rooms to lessen the risk of infection. Their mom has had the chance for the first time ever to hold each of her sons separately without the help of doctors.
I'm excited, but still a little bit nervous. I might hurt their head, but it's wonderful to hold them one by one.
They're moving all their extremities, and they're really coming back to their same old personalities. They've become quite playful.
Now, there are setbacks. One of the boys, Carl, is being treated for a urinary tract infection. Doctors are also paying close attention to a small amount of fluid that has developed under the skin on his skull after the separation surgery. It's something doctors say that's not uncommon for such procedures.
We simply want to be sure that that fluid doesn't interfere in any way with their wound healing. So this was really sort of a maintenance check today.
And the best part of all, doctors say they are impressed with the boys and their rate of recovery.
We know that there are still a lot of details that we have to watch out for, so we're keeping a very, very close watch on them, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we encourage them to continue this recovery.
And a lot of encouragement from everybody who watches, too. Carl and Clarence, go guys. The boys have already been starting physical therapy, still have one more operation to reconstruct their skulls.
Steve, turning now to the Business Watch, the long-awaited IPO of Google. Google finally starts trading. For more on that story, from Wall Street, we turn to Business Week's Kelsey Hubbard live at the Amex.
Well, Lauren, the IPO of Google has been a long and bumpy road getting to market, and the open of trading was no different. The stock was supposed to begin trading at 11:40 this morning Eastern Time on the NASDAQ. It did pop up on the board quickly, and then it was held. Apparently, 2 trades got through that shouldn't have. The NASDAQ then issuing a statement saying that those 2 trades should not have gotten through. They set it back to $85 a share, and then right before the top of the hour, the stock did finally open for trading. It jumped up about 16% to about $100 there, and then did settle back down to 96. We are trading now up about 17% for Google at about $99.70 on the day. It has settled in there for the past couple minutes here, and we will be watching it throughout the day. But a long-awaited IPO that did price at $85 a share. That did come in at the bottom end of the lowered pricing range and well below initial estimates. As we did say, this IPO coming to market has been bumpy, and that included regulators checking out possible securities violation, a lukewarm response by investors to the Dutch auction for shares, which also led Google to sharply cut its size and price of its stock sale. And of course, many investors will be watching as to how this plays out over the rest of the trading session today, as well as throughout the weekend going on from this point. But yeah, it was a bumpy road as we saw Google open for trading today. Well, let's take a look at how the rest of the market was faring in midday action. We have the Dow off 38 points, while the NASDAQ is back 6 points. We're live at the American Stock Exchange. Kelsey Hubbard, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
All right, we'll be watching Google. Thanks, Kelsey. Now to a story that you might barely be able to believe. You'll understand why I said that. You see, there are wine lovers and there are beer lovers, and apparently there are bears who love beer. Wildlife agents found a drunk bear at a campsite in Washington State. He passed out after drinking 36 cans of beer. I'm not sure what kind of beer. He got those beers from a camper's cooler and used his claws and teeth to open the cans. And apparently he came back the next day looking for some more. A little lush. They set up a trap using what else? Beer. The bear has been relocated since. The beer, they're keeping in the coolers.
I see. Beer's not a bare necessity now.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
The verdict is in on that bad pun. Also, Oprah weighs in a life and death situation and a decision. That story is still ahead.
And rain or shine, Lee has a verdict on the weather.
Mother Nature's guilty to putting us in a steam bath this afternoon. Little rain for the next hour or two, then not a bad afternoon. We'll talk about the 5-day AccuWeather forecast into the weekend when Eyewitness News at noon returns.
Today at 5, he's slowly losing his sight. Could a new treatment help him? Eyewitness News is on call. Plus, what good is a laptop if it won't stay open? Eyewitness News tackles a common problem on a popular computer. Join Diana Williams, Jade Benoit, and Sam Champion today at 5 on Eyewitness News, right here on ABC 7.
Welcome back. Glamorous shots at Olin Mills have nothing on the twin Mars rovers. Still sending back new pictures of, more rocks.
That's amazing.
More rocks from the red planet. Among them, more evidence that Mars once had water. NASA says the rover is now showing signs of aches and pains as they pass their 200-day mark. We all know how that feels.
Yeah.
There's more than twice their life expectancy, too. So we're going to see more rocks.
These pictures are so
that's incredible.
It's like looking at our deserts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it's
unbelievable.
like a state park that we're looking at.
It really is incredible.
Wow.
Great clarity in the pictures.
Yeah, and they're certainly overachieving. Good stuff. Yep. All right, so you know what we got outside.
We're underachieving.
I mean, it's just really, it's really sticky out there, and we have a couple more days to go. So outside at noon, we've got mainly cloudy skies, a little bit of haze, and rain is about to move in for about, let's say, a half hour, 40 minutes into the city, and that'll be it until probably later today toward the evening commute. Our temperature at noontime, 78 degrees. We can get in the low 80s this afternoon. That humidity really high at 84%. Right now, the barometer is on the fall. The wind is out of the warm and humid southwest, and again, a hazy sky with rain on the way in. No rainfall just yet. Your average high should be in the lower 80s. We'll start to get there tomorrow, and in fact, beyond the middle 80s for the next couple of days. Sunset tonight, about 10 minutes before 8 and 10 after 6 or 11 after 6 tomorrow morning. AccuTrack first. It's a little light area of rain. This actually was showers and thunderstorms working through Pennsylvania this morning. It has really fallen apart, but it's about to move into the city. It's only about, let's say, 20 miles wide and actually thinning out, so it shouldn't take more than about 40 minutes to roll through, maybe even a half hour, and then you're done with it for a while. Now, there's definitely some action out to the west as well, and we're going to have to watch that move in. But you see how this has really been weakening. Might not even make it out to the east end of the island. But these showers and storms, about a 6 o'clock arrival, early evening. Got to watch out for those, especially if they expand. Could be some very heavy downpours later. Back to the other computer. Let's take a flight. First of all, into the northern plains, upper Great Lakes. It's snowing over Hudson Bay. This is a very vigorous cold front, and that's what we need to cut into this heat and humidity. It's going to come around Saturday evening. So until then, we're in this sticky stuff with just occasional storms. So we have a couple of fronts, one approaching this afternoon, and it'll give us a shower storm into the evening. It'll weaken, and when it's over us tomorrow, it's not going to do much. And then we'll wait for Saturday to that front to come in. And that's the period I'm concerned about, is late Saturday, where we could see a shower thunderstorm that could be severe. So keep an eye on that time frame in our 5-day. Steam bath this afternoon, 82, couple of scattered storms. As we go through tomorrow, this front weakens, and we might even get away rain-free tomorrow for the most part. More in the way of hazy sun, 86. There's that powerful cold front, and expect it late Saturday. So much of the day on Saturday could be okay, but late day and evening storms and refreshing weather to follow as we go into the second part of the weekend. My AccuWeather forecast, an evening thunderstorm, warm and sticky, 73. More of the same tomorrow. More hazy sun, though, and fewer storms, 86. 5-day AccuWeather forecast. Saturday starts out hazy, late day and afternoon storms, and some of those could be severe, but then this great feeling air mass comes in on Sunday and Monday, 70s by day, low humidity, really invigorating stuff. It looks like it's going to heat up next week, too, and we'll get some real summer weather for a change.
Joe Levins comes back, the sun comes out.
That's what happens.
Thank you, buddy.
You bet.
Thanks, Lee. Well, a Chicago jury that included talk show host Oprah Winfrey has convicted a man of first-degree murder. Oprah and 11 others deliberated for just more than 2 hours before finding a 27-year-old man guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of another man. The murder was apparently over a fake $50 bill. Winfrey calls the experience a huge reality check.
The bigger story here for me is that a man is dead, murdered, supposedly over $50, and that the real war is still going on in the inner city streets every day with young black men killing each other. It was one of the saddest experiences I've ever had.
And on that note, Oprah says she plans to do a show about the trial next week with the other jurors.
Well, lightening things up a bit, folks from Beverly Hills to Paris, as in Hilton, breathing a collective sigh of relief this noon. Paris is missing, as we like to say here, Chihuahua. Tinkerbell has been found alive, safe and sound. Hilton had put up a $5,000 reward for Tinkerbell's return. Thank goodness. Famous for her appearances, of course, the precocious pooch on the reality TV show with her.
So glad. So relieved.
It's a nice dog.
Oh, yeah.
All dogs are nice.
Well, a rare birth in San Diego.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, the new bundle of joy that's getting a lot of stares from the public. Oh, look at the little guy.
It's a great lineup every afternoon on ABC 7, starting with Millionaire. Then, All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital, Oprah, and then at 5, Eyewitness News. All right here on ABC 7.
Tonight, if your doctor tells you to take chemo to protect yourself, do you really need it to stay cancer-free? Could genetic testing soon predict the odds of your cancer coming back? Beating Cancer. The series continues on World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Dreams really do come true.
Got yourself $125,000.
It's a life-changing week on Millionaire.
Next, after Eyewitness News at noon, right here on ABC 7.
Free acting classes for you and your kids. Your Cool Parents Guide is ahead today on Eyewitness News at 5. Also, implants for your eyes now being used to stop a disease that causes blindness. 7's on call today at 5.
And finally this noon, in the primate world, cigars are not immediately ordered upon the birth of newborns, mainly because the sex of the youngster isn't known for a few days. That, however, does not diminish parental pride. My parents, same thing, they didn't know what it was for a few days. These are bonobo chimpanzees born yesterday at the San Diego Zoo. While the proud papa offered no Lamaze coaching during the birth, he wasted no time posing for the first set of family photos. Wallet sizes available at the gates. Each are critically endangered species, native to the Congo, and rarely seen in zoos. But he's going to have the same problem I have. Receding hairline, though. You can see it in Dad right away.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.
It's New York Lottery's numbers and win for midday drawing for Thursday, August 19, 2004. I'm Yolanda Vega. Now, here's today's number. The first file up is 1. The next is 2, and the last is 1, making the midday number 121. The drawings are being observed by an auditor from KPMG. And now, for win 4, the first file up is 1. The next is 9. The next is 2, and the last is 7, making the midday win for number 1927. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.